This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, and welcome to today's edition of the Pit Stop, where you, the pit crew, are the real star of today's show. And I apologize. Gosh, I feel like I'm apologizing to you guys every single day. I apologize today because I am an hour early. So, very, very important meeting for the Simpit coming up in an hour. And something very private. I won't be able to tell you guys about it, but nonetheless, it's something that I have to do, and it meant that I was going to have to cancel today's show because it's right at the same time we normally air. However, I decided that rather than just cancel the show when we're a little short on content with taking a few days off in the move, that it was better to just push it early. So I apologize for that, and if you're watching the replay, that's what went on. We will be back normally at 9 a.m. like always. This is just the exception to the rule. So, we'll probably have a small crowd, being that we're going to catch everybody a little off guard, and again, that's why apologies were in order. So, what's going on in the world of sim racing today? Starting off with Forza, the Forza Twitter Twitter page, I guess, Forza Motorsport on Twitter. They are announcing that Series 1 Round 2 of their big championship begins today. So, that'll be at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And you can watch that and see the best of the best in Forza go at it. And, you know, when we talk about the best of the best nowadays, it's changed. The best of the best is a lot different, is different than it was a year ago. But we're going to see the big players in Forza there. Continuing on to WRC, World Rally Championship. They have their next round. So if you've been playing around with this, I mean, this one here, excuse me, unlike Forza, anyone can get over there and run on the WRC. So it's a leaderboard style one. You can see where you are. People are starting to send me pictures of their accomplishments in sim racing. And I really, really, really want you guys to, oh, John, I forgot about that replay. Dang it. Oh, where's my mind today? Anyway, but if you go out there, I want to see where you are on that leaderboard. Go hit up that WRC. I haven't done WRC yet because when I fired it up, it didn't like my multiple controllers, so I went away from it. I wouldn't mind either using like the drive hub or even doing a wheel change to be able to give WRC a real fine shot. Maybe that's something we can do in the not too distant future. Thank you, Severiano. Thank you very much, buddy. RaceRoom. So preps are on, and they have opened up the leaderboard for Nordschleife. So this is part of their FIA WCR launch event. This is going on May 10th through 12th. This is a very, very big deal. RaceRoom puts on a great competition, and it'll have both an online and an in-person aspect to it. So everybody's going to be able to do it, but they have opened up the leaderboard for Nordschleife. And I actually have 2 races coming up in a row at Nordschleife, which means I am going to know every single turn of that track. What is it, 170? Someone correct me. 170 turns at Nordschleife? I think that I know about 100 of the 170. Stu, we are on early because I have a big appointment. The Simpit has a big appointment at 9 o'clock, and I had 2 options today. Cancel the show or go early. So I went with go early because the show must go on. Lots of news out of iRacing today. First of all, Ray Alfalla is back. This guy is one of the defending champs in the iRacing Peak Antifreeze series, one of the best on the NASCAR side or the oval side of racing and iRacing. Bryce Evans won the SimVibes software, and I sent his address off to Darren Ganji of Sim Experience so that hopefully he'll get that prize in the mail. But that was the winner on Friday. Anyway, Ray Alfalla won last night and at Richmond Raceway, and this was the big event where the Chaos Crew, the guys, the Richmond Raceway Motorsports team, the Chaos Crew, they didn't have such a great night at their home track as it turns out. P7 for Clampett, Conti in 9th, Ottinger in 12th, Molis 14th, Richardson 21st, Schoenberg all the way back in 30th. You can check that replay out if you'd like to see the full race, but things are heating up in that series, and when we look at the power rankings, we're going to see Ray Alfalla jumping up. So, who's the biggest mortal enemy of sim racers? Well, it's not the guy on the left, it's the guy on the right. The guy on the left is Nim Cross, and if you don't know him, Nim is the chief steward at iRacing. So if you've done anything wrong, it was Nim who slapped the fine or the penalty on you. Nim is a great guy, perfect for that job. On his left or on the right side of our screen is none other than Scott Speed, the biggest bleep in sim racing. Anyway, apparently they have had a meeting. So the caption that goes along with the picture is Chief Stewart Nimcross and Scott Speed met up at iRacing headquarters today. Now keep in mind, Scott Speed was thrown out of iRacing. So him being at the studio, at the headquarters, means something. Stay tuned for an update on how things turned out, they said. So, we've been talking about the GRC imploding. Does Scott Speed not have a ride for the year? I don't know the real story on what's going on with the GRC drivers, especially the top guys, Scott Speed being one of them. Where's he racing this season? Is him being, he's back to serve a penalty. He's going to have to do some community service in the Boston area. So, there you go. So that is big news. And in all fairness and in all honesty, I really hope that Scott Speed learned his lesson. I hope he realized that maybe he should think before he speaks. Maybe he should think before he acts. Maybe some greater good has been served. Maybe in the end, he'll become one of the spokesmen of sportsmanship and gentleman type racing. Who knows? Also out of iRacing, lots going on at iRacing today. There are some tease photos. So again, one of the things about iRacing, and I think that people could make this argument that some of the things that iRacing does, I call it within the fortress. Like, if you are an iRacing member, you're privy to all the information that they have available, and it is there, you know, the forum, everything. But if you're not a member, you're completely locked out. You have no access, and that's what I mean by inside and outside the fortress. And I think they're the only company that's doing it quite that same way. I'm going to take a side step. For those joining the show, yes, we are early. Sorry, you guys. I have an appointment at 9 o'clock for the Simpit. Very, very important. And I either had to cancel the show or push it forward. So we pushed it forward because, well, I want to do the show. There you go. No, we're not acting like Scott Speed killed someone, Law. Here's my angle on that thought. Let's go back to Scott Speed and we'll come back to this topic. We get big names who embrace sim racing, who become ambassadors of sim racing. The guys who are, they are the ones who are telling others, hey, sim racing is cool. Hey, sim racing is legit. Hey, sim racing is fun. When those prime players do something on the negative, it takes us down. They're the opposite of ambassadors. They're burning the fortress. So that's my angle. It's not that he killed anybody, and we're all angry. If you watch my video, I get angry. We all have our moments, but it's different when you're in the spotlight. When I have a blow-up video, that's not good. You know, I'm supposed to be the person with composure, at least on camera. Anyway, I think that's the idea. Stu, and I think that's what it means. I think he is working his way back into iRacing. Who knows? Who knows? Billy Strange in the audience. How you doing, Billy? Anyway, back to iRacing where we were. Belle Isle is the next track, and this is good. This is a track that will be enjoyed by many. Oh, how do I... Uh-oh, what have I done? And they have some screenshots. I had heard from one of my testers that it was not all that far along, but this sure looks very far along, and they're rumored to be doing a June release of the track. But this should make for some great racing, and in my opinion, a much-needed road course. Maybe not the one I would have gone to first as my next pick, but I will take another track, another road course, for sure. And I think that this is something that, again, iRacing is kind of needed. So, due out in June. So, it is coming very, very quickly. I never blow up, Dennis. Never. Just reading up on some of your guys' chat. Yes, wouldn't that be great to get Scott Speed in on some Wreckfest? And Brandon and I have been talking about it. We will do Wreckfest Monday Fun Day, 6 p.m. So I'm giving you guys a little advanced warning. Monday Fun Day, 6 p.m. next Monday, we are going to do Wreckfest with friends and enemies again. Patron group will be the first ones in, and then we'll probably open the gates up and let some of you in as well. But that should be fun on Wednesday. I love that game. I love that sim. I'm not even going to call it a game. It's a sim. More news. Talking about those spotlight drivers, the ambassadors of our sport. For those of you who don't know the way it went, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been a very long time sim racer. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been sim racing as long as I have. 15, 20 years easily. He's been around since the beginning days of all of it. And he's always been a real-life driver on the side. That's the way I think of him. Sim racer first, most famous racer on Earth second. Anyway, but his Twitter feed today says, been a long time since I have run a race in iRacing. He's always kept his computer upgraded and updated because he'd always missed it. He jumped on for some laps today. It sure is a lot of fun in the dirt. So we might be seeing the rebirth of Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the world of sim racing, which is awesome. BR Wreckfest. Yes, Wreckfest Monday. So there you go. Earnhardt coming back. And this guy, I say ambassador. I don't know. Earnhardt has always spoken so highly of sim racing, and he does it publicly often. He might be responsible for more new faces in sim racing than anybody. So it'd be great to have him back in the ranks. Next up, GT Planet has a story on the new GT Sport update, and finally arriving, they say. And I think, well, boy, things have really been kind of moving along at a decent pace. But anyway, Friday the 27th, so 2 days from today, is the big update that is coming. They are expecting the Toyota GR Supra to be inside it. That concept racing Supra by Toyota is expected. Kazunori had announced a DLC plan on things that are coming in the future. But we don't know exactly what's in it, but we can expect a big update in the next couple of days, and including a shutdown. So the shutdown will be on the 27th between 4 and 6 UTC. So just a heads up there. Not a fan of Earnhardt Jr. in the 88. Yeah, well, I'm a giant Earnhardt fan, and the biggest reason for it is because of his sim racing, to be honest with you. There you go. Yesterday, this was kind of talked about on the show, and a few of you guys have been talking about Sim Vibe here today, because we did have our contest last week. Bryce Evans, did you get my email? You were the winner, and you should be getting a contact from Sim Experience as well. But they have a new product coming out of Sim Experience. So Bernie Villers, the owner of Sim Experience, posted this. And what this is an all-in-one. You can call it a plug-and-play box. But instead of going through that whole nightmare that many of you have run 4 butt kickers on Sim Vibe through your computer, oh, it gets a little complicated getting everything plugged in and hooked up just right and working. A lot going on. Anyway, they have now made things very easy, and they're selling kits that allow you to just plug your butt kickers right into this box, plug it in with a USB. It's got its own sound card built into it, and it's sort of a plug-and-play for transducer system. So this could be pretty cool. The pricing on it, I saw it was like $400 to $500. Where was it? Hold on, let me try to find it. Somewhere between $200 and $600 for various kits. I think the various kits are going to be a matter of if it comes with transducers or without. Somebody in the forum here did ask, hey, if I already have SimVibe, will I get a discount? The answer was yes. So if you already have SimVibe, you're not going to have to double pay for the software part itself. Yeah, Bryce, that just went out this morning, so give it a little bit of time, but it shouldn't take too long. He's pretty on that kind of stuff. Anyway, moving along, Microsoft and Discord. So a lot of us hang out on Discord. Me and the Patreon guys, we hang out, and I haven't been around over the last week because of everything going on in my life, but we hang out and chat. Lots of cool information. It's you know, we've all become best friends on Discord through that patron group. And when I say hang out, I mean, we're always there. Somebody's always there. There's always a group. We're always talking. And even better, one of my favorite things about that patron group and our Discord channel, I'm taking a diversion. I'm hijacking Microsoft's story. The amount of help people give. I mean, the amount of times I've seen somebody come in and say, oh, I'm having a problem with this. And 3 people start helping them out. So it's really become a great resource and a great club. I mean, it's like a country club for sim racers, it almost feels like, where you can just rub elbows with people who care what we're talking about. Anyway, Microsoft and Discord have teamed up to connect gamers across Xbox Live and Discord. So this could be a big deal for the future of not only Discord, but you know, gaming and that whole communication, streaming, all this new world we're in. And this is just another step in that direction. BSim has a cool article, so I'll give BSim a little bit of credit today. bsimracing.com, they're a good news site resource. But rFactor 2 Endurance Series Build 2.0 is released. So this is one of the best mods, completed mods for rFactor 2 with, you know, a whole thing. It's not just a car, it's not just a track, that kind of thing. But anyway, they have updated that mod, so they're at 2.0 on that, and you can see the long list of changes. But when you talk about a massive mod, they're going to get updates, almost like a sim gets an update to an extent. Guess who's back? Back again. There you go. RF, that is our patron group that is using Discord, and you can get the details down below in the description of the show down there. Yeah, the death of TeamSpeak. Isn't that the case, John Hill? WTF1 has a cool video talking about, is this the next step for F1 esport? And I haven't had a time to watch it, but I had at least 5 different people send this in. So I know a lot of you guys are big fans of WTF1. And he's given his whole thought on the esport and the changing world that I'm always talking about. I'm telling you how it's just changing on a daily basis. So you can check that if you want. This is big news. So Motorsport Network joins the GTR 24H. The GTR 24H is probably the biggest old school, I'm going to call it old school, LAN event that you're ever going to find. And when I say LAN event, a lot of you guys probably do not have any idea what I'm talking about when I say LAN event. Before internet was as glorious as it is, before online connections were as great as they were, if you wanted to game with a bunch of people, you had to do it in person, and you had to set up a router and set up a whole setup like if you were at work using work computers. And then through this network, we could race. And so in-person events were the way that the original gaming esport was being done. With the internet being what it is today, we can all race from all over the world with each other, and the word LAN doesn't really mean very much anymore. But GTR 24H has been going on a long time, since the days, I believe in the inception years of it, it was actually done via LAN. So, I don't know if they go with LAN. They might just have a bunch of internet connections there. I'm not even sure. It might be smarter to be LAN once you're back to being in person. But they've partnered with Motorsport Network, which means you're going to have great coverage, big names, and the 2018 Endurance eRacing World Championship is going to be a very big deal. I have tuned in and watched this race several times over the last few years, and it is one of the coolest events in all of sim racing. So, if you're in that North European area, I'm trying to double check, I'm remembering where this goes on. They don't mention it in this article. But it is worth going to in person as well from what I've seen. And I've seen a lot of people. I think Jimmy Broadband went there last year, if I'm not mistaken. So very cool. Thank you, Lionheart. I see Lionheart is in the stream here. And a few of the guys that we drove with last night was a crazy night for me trying to do the race practice and all that, and I ended up just making mistakes. Adam Blocker's in here. He was one of the guys I was racing with last night. Had a great time running with the Lionheart Racing Series, and tonight is their big race. So tonight at 7:30 Central Time is the Lionheart Simpit Grand Prix of Watkins Glen. So you can check that out as well. Article here at, I don't even know this site, taekenda.com, and talking about Valve, or Steam for many of you, but Valve has a curation problem. Anyway, it's an article talking about Valve, and one of the problems with Valve is that, or Steam, is that they have tens of thousands of games, and a good 60% of them are complete garbage. Like, they are almost put out there to exploit people's impulse to buy games. Like, we're bored. Oh, that looks fun. Let me give them $5. And they do a quick cash grab, and then that's the end of the game's development. But what do you know? They made some money for the cheap development that they did. So this article really rakes them over the coals, talking about how that they've really supported this crapware for a price, and that they need to clean it up. But then they also go on to say that for the amount of money that Steam is making each and every year, they really have very little incentive. We all keep buying into it. We keep paying for these crap games. 9:35 Central Time on GSRC is where you can tune in and see the Lionheart Racing Series. So GSRC on YouTube at 9:35 Central Time. So there you go. I'm not going to dwell on this, but WCCF Tech has a review on grip and talking about it. We have an article here talking about a new meta lens, nanotechnology for VR. So one of the big issues with, no, I won't be able to run the race tonight. I'm not officially running in the series, but the Simpit is one of the sponsors, and we are the title sponsor of tonight's race, the Simpit Grand Prix of Watkins Glen. Anyway, but nanotechnology could be what changes and helps VR. So if they can get more resolution into it, pack more resolution, more pixels, it's going to help VR a ton. Nanotechnology is what has made our cell phones so amazing and powerful. The fact that they can take things that used to be, you know, when I was a kid, a computer would be the size of an entire room in your house. And it'd be 1,000 degrees, and they'd need to air condition the room just to cool it down. A computer is this big now. So that same concept is what's going to help and change VR. There you go. That's that. I'm not sure if I messed this story up yesterday. And if I did, the part that I messed up was I think I implied that this was going on at the Vegas eSport arena. No, it's going on in France. Team Vitality is a French team, one of the most successful eSport or gaming teams. They existed before it was even called eSport. Thank you very much, George. I appreciate that. The Glen, that's right. But anyway, they are actually going to have a whole school. So it's not just go in there and hire a coach to learn how to be a better, I can't think of a game right now. Whatever, it doesn't matter what game. But you're not going to go there. But in Lyon, France is where they're going to be doing and headquartering this team and this eSport school, a collegiate eSport team. You know, the whole concept that you would go there and train with them, and it's going to be dedicated to this whole point. So again, eSport, it's scholarships in college, it's $1 million prizes, it's guys making a living on gaming, it's guys setting up schools just for eSport. Anyway, awesome times. Yeah, 18 or 20. Exactly, yeah, Billy. The old school LAN, that was the reality. You get 6 working rigs and a bunch of people sharing them. That is so right. Not everybody was able, or not all LANs were even able to handle as many people who might show up. Xbox Hub's mentioning and talking about the King of Buggies has arrived as paid gravel DLC. I haven't played it yet, so I don't know if I'd invest further into the game to get DLC, but total, to me, this looks like an RC car. Looks like a crossbow. Is it the crossbow? Which one is the metal frame? Not the crossbow. The Aerial Atom. That looks like an Aerial Atom four-wheel drive version. And it is four-wheel drive. I can see the half shafts on the front axles right here. The half shaft front axles. Looks like an RC car to me. Do you need a man bun to be on the team? Which team is that, Dave? No man buns. If you have a man bun, I'm begging you to please undo it or cut it off. I don't care if you cut your hair. Undo the man bun. Man bun has got to go. My opinion. That's my rant of the day. I'm not going to talk about H1Z1 anymore because they use the word Battle Royale. So they've teased me a million times with shots of you driving around in a car. I couldn't do a man bun. Or it'd have to be like, it would have to be so far back it would just be a curled up tail. But anyway, they do have a whole interview with Daybreak. You can talk about everything going on in addition to that with H1Z. And again, this is one of those Battle Royale. So this is, you know, what, Pugby, and what was the other one that they had named? But this is those massive multiplayer battle games. And hardly a racing game of any type, even though you can drive and shoot. So this will probably be the last time we ever mention H1Z1 bald guy rant. If you're bald, you get one rant per day. That's just, it goes with being bald. It's like, oh, poor you, you're bald. All right, we'll get you one rant for the day, just to, you know, just to be fair. Anyway, last time I'm going to talk about it, H1Z1 launching as free-to-play on PS4. So if you want to give it a shot, May 22nd, there will be an open beta free-to-play, and you can check that game out without having to buy it if you want to wait a month. Team VBV, Veni, Vidi, Vici. I came, I saw, I conquered. That website known for sim racing news, cut and paste news mostly. Anyway, they have an article here talking about, and I'd heard this somewhere else, so now this is the second time I've heard it, that Forza Horizon 4, the open world version of Forza by Playground Games in Turn 10, is going to be staged in the UK. So there was rumors that it was going to be in Japan, but it's looking more and more like it's going to be the UK. And the way people are figuring this out is because of certain cars that are showing up in areas. So, the McLaren, the Peel, the Ford Escort, the Ford Fiesta, the Morris Minor, the Austin, a whole selection of UK vehicles have been seen and spotted, which indicates that if the content is for that, well, then it should necessarily, you would think that that's where the region will be as well. So we'll have to find out. Just a little speculation on the day. Next up, our killer deal of the day. PC Gamers talking about the AMD Ryzen 7 1700 desktop with a Radeon RX 560 whole computer ready to go for $600. You guys know more about computers than I do. Thank you, George. I appreciate that. Is this a good deal? That's whenever I do these, I ask you guys. So is that a good deal? Is that a viable racing rig? Will a RX 560 get the job done? You guys let me know. Is this a good starter computer for guys to get going in sim racing? Let me know. Let the guys know. Put it in the chat. This is a big deal. Also at PC Gamer. Old guy rant. Get off my lawn. When people yell at me to get off their lawn, I say build a fence. There you go. PC Gamer saying for the first time in a quarter century, and for those of you not good at math, that's 25 years, Intel is not the top semiconductor vendor. So pretty much from the inception of the computer, Intel was the go-to company when it came to semiconductors. Didn't matter what name was on the computer, somewhere deep inside it had Intel chips. They are no longer the top dog. And Samsung, and I'm going to guess, I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that it is these. It is Samsung's total domination in the world of cell phones. Well, not total domination. I just upset a bunch of Apple people. I'm assuming that is a big reason why. I mean, you have to think the modern television has a semiconductor in it as well. Samsung makes a lot of electronic products. Intel, to the best of my knowledge, makes chips for computers. But like Samsung, I'm sure they make chips for other things like a washer and dryer and other things. But just gives you an idea that the global world has changed. Our sim rig of the day. I don't like using names like the day because we're not going to have one tomorrow. But this was sent in. This is the ultimate homemade racing machine. I love this rig. The guy took an old school gaming rig. You can see straight out of an arcade. It was a little beat up and run down. And he basically installed an old Fanatic wheel, inverted Fanatic pedals, and all of his button boxes built into the panel like you'd expect. And he is racing from a total arcade sim. And I love it. I think it's a great look. I think if you don't need triple screens, that is the way a sim should look in your home, just because, dang, that's cool. And for me, it takes me back. I miss the arcade days. I have to admit, I miss the arcade days. The amount of hours I would go down to the arcade and just hang out. Sometimes game, sometimes not, sometimes just hang out. Anyway, it brings back memories, and I'm going to give him a lot of credit. This is Do It After Smoking on YouTube. Do it after smoking. I thought you smoked after you do it. Article at Drive Tribe talking about one of the best sim racing mods ever. And I'm going to agree. This was the Can-Am mod 1971 for Grand Prix Legends. So this goes back in time. We're dating ourselves a little bit. But this was another one of those super mods that just, you know, had cars, tracks, physics, everything it took to make it almost a game in its own. You think about some of those third-party developers for R Factor, and their mods are so complete that they're a company in their own. Yes, it might be based on R Factor too, but this all goes back to the days of Grand Prix Legends, and he says that this is one of the best of all time, second only, and I agree here too, to the Power and Glory expansion mod for the good old GTR2. How many of you guys remember the Power and Glory expansion mod? Anyway, we are hitting upon some of my favorite all-time cars. John Hill's here. I know he's a huge Can-Am fan as well. And just giving a little tribute to the past. And my last story of today's show is VRX Simulators. You might know them. Robert Stanner of VRX. These guys have joined with Nagra on an eSports in the cinema. So now we're seeing that next step where the esport arenas and things like that are actually looking for their rig partners. As sim racing market grows in the world of esport, well, they're not going to just have us sitting around playing on controllers. It seems like the esport world, they're going to want to have rigs. They're going to want to have rigs that look like that. Something along those lines. Anyway, they've teamed up with VRX, and those guys make some very, very nice rigs. And that should make their esport arena and any competition there that much more cool. Indy Heat was great. Yes, absolutely. Indy Heat was one of those titles that got a lot of people into sim racing. So, yes, Doug, you are right. We are getting close, but we are out of news. So that is the end of today's show. Just like that, we flew through a lot of stories. We did have a lot to talk about. And I want to thank you all for being here. Sorry to throw the show at you so early. We will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for a normal timed show. And lots more coming. Like I said, full steam ahead. Playing the catch-up game. But you're going to see a lot more content coming out of us. Yep, thank you, John. Checking the time. And the last thing I'm going to say, I don't do it often. Please, if you haven't subscribed to the show, like the show. If you give us a thumbs up, it helps to get a little more popularity out there in the community. Watch the show a second time. If we get more views, it gets out to the community. And most of all, share it with a friend. Tell people what we're doing. Tell us that every day they can tune in for the news. Tell us at night they can tune in and watch us and help us and join with us for racing. Lots going on at the Simpit. We just need more people involved in it. That's going to do it for today. I'll be back tomorrow morning at our normal time, 9 a.m. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.